Evening and welcome to one almighty flock of magpies tonight. Two flocks, the Magpies of Notts County and the Magpies of Maidenhead United. Black and white stripes, both of us. We're looking ahead to the big game. On Saturday, can Notts make it 2 home wins in 5 days? Contrasting fortunes for ourselves and Maidenhead last night. Notts 3-2 winners. Not such good news for Maidenhead and reduced to 9 men. Representing the Magpies brackets Notts County, club record goal scorer Leslie Brad. Les, delighted to see you.
Evening, Paul. Always good to see you. And not quite looking as tanned as I thought you might be. From how many days you been in Spain?
I have been in Spain 3 days, and I know you're a keen golfer. They opened Alarin course while it was shut, but as I'd come over from Nottingham in advance of my work with Real Betis, they allowed myself and Richo, who you know, to play the course. And unfortunately, we very nearly killed ourselves when the buggy went down a hill rather rapidly and a 3-point turn on a 1 in 4 gradient. But we did survive. We got rid of the buggy after the first hole, to be honest, and walked around. But we're here. Anyway, enough about golf. A warm welcome to the Magpies brackets Maidenhead branch. And the award for best setting for background goes to Grace Scott, who is the Media and Marketing Officer for Maidenhead United. Grace, a very warm welcome. Delighted to see you.
Good evening. Hopefully the light holds out, but I do apologise if I suddenly disappear.
Well, I'm sure you'll be able to move into the stand or something. It looks very scenic, very picturesque, and considerably quieter, I am guessing, than it was last night when things didn't quite go according to plan for your team, did they? Reduced to 9 men and lost at home to Stockport. Not such a good evening for everyone, no?
No, I think it's a bit cliche to say, but it was a game that had everything bar a Maidenhead goal. I think we did do quite well considering the decisions and everything to keep it at 2-0. It's one that we take and we move on quickly.
Now, you finished with 9 men, didn't you? You had 2 players sent off, including your goalkeeper. And of course, we remember Maidenhead's keeper from last season, Rhys Lovett, because he got concussed or he had to go off injured. And it now would appear that he might be coming into the reckoning for Saturday, because your keeper from last night would expect to face a suspension, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct. Rhys has had quite a hard time. He joined us towards the end of last season, and that was quite a shock for him to get injured the way that he did as well. So I think everyone at the club was really gutted for him. So when he joined us again for this season, we had high hopes. James Holden, the keeper from last night that did get sent off, he's done a brilliant job so far. But I think Saturday will be a good opportunity for Rhys to really show his worth and get back involved.
Very good. While you're in the light, Chloe, let's before the darkness descends, let's talk a little bit about expectations, matching those ambitions for Maidenhead, because clearly at Notts County, we think we should be in the Football League. We think we're one of the biggest teams in the division, 20,000 all-seater stadium. And to be honest, we think we're going to win every game. Unfortunately, we don't, although we're doing not too bad at the minute. And at the other end of the spectrum, you have Maidenhead, where Alan Devonshire is clearly a legend after his 2 extensive managerial spells there. We're playing in the lowest standard that we've ever played in. Maidenhead are playing in their highest. Is every game kind of, if not a bonus, but presumably just to stay in this division is always going to be a challenge for you? And you kind of surpassed that in recent seasons, halfway, pushing a little bit for promotion, got 1 or 2 very talented players like Sam Barrett. I mean, what are the fans happy down there?
The fans are always happy at Maidenhead. I think with us being such a small club and a small community, everyone knows everyone, and we all know that we're grateful to be where we are in the National League. At the start of every year, we always say the 50-point mark, trying to get to that mark as quickly as possible is always the main target. which I think not having the pressure always works in our favour. So I think having the surprise wins away from home at the big grounds and everything is part of what we enjoy watching Maidenhead. It's just they're the highlights of the seasons, and I really enjoy the atmosphere that we have. Like last night, getting involved. Obviously, Stockport brought a load of fans down, and it was a really good atmosphere. But Maidenhead fans are very grounded. We know that we're lucky to be in the National League, but we know that we deserve to be in the National League, having stayed here for quite a few seasons. So yeah, that 50-point marker is always something that we try and get to as soon as possible.
Leslie, obviously, as I was narrowly avoiding being decapitated by a runaway golf buggy at Alarin earlier in the day, you obviously had the drop on me because you were watching Notts County last night. So come on, I'm just talking to my lad who produces it. He said one of the most entertaining games he's seen. There's been plenty of them, and we got the 3 points, but not necessarily the script that a lot of people might have thought would be written.
No, I think the head coach, Ian, tried to change things a little and tried to get more positive and more on the front foot, more attacking, which Notts did. But when they lost the ball in that final third, Wealdstone were very, very good on the counter-attack and caused Notts all sorts of problems. And, yeah, I would say over the 90 minutes... they will be disappointed going away without a point. But on the plus side, we scored 3 goals. That's positive, but we are conceding too many sloppy goals. Definitely, that needs working at. I'm sure that's what Ian is working on the training ground. You know, we've played 6 games, 3 at home, 3 away. If you take 3 wins and 3 draws, you're going to be absolutely delighted with that, and that's what we've got. So we move on from there.
Delighted that Chris Gosling has posted something on the chat. It was another chaotic 90 minutes, he said. I was getting worried because normally we've had loads of chat by now, and you're the first one, Chris. I don't know whether my connection here in Seville isn't that great, but keep the messages coming in. Keep the messages coming in. Just to prove that everyone out there, whack over who you thought was MOM for me. Who was not MOM last night? Josh O'Meara, I'd forgotten this till my son told me, Les. He lasted about 4 minutes against us for Torquay when he got sent off after that altercation with Mark Ellis last season. He kind of did a bit more damage last night, didn't he?
He scored 2 goals. As I say, once again, they were very dangerous on the break. Yeah, it wasn't a clear-cut chance, the first one by any means, but he got on the end of it. The ball had broke loose and he stuck that in. The second goal was very positive. He jumped in on, there was a counter-attack down the left-hand side. He got the ball just on the edge of the box, went forward and smacked it into the corner. He was a handful last night. Yeah, did a good job.
Chris Gosling says Palmer again for me, MOM. Kelvin Hallam says Joel Taylor, and he adds unreal 90 minutes. Not sure my ticket will last very long with these games, though. Who would have been your MOM last night, Les?
Who would have been mine? Sam Slocum had a fantastic game, made some crucial saves when it was necessary in that last 20 minutes when we were under the cosh bit. Cal is always doing his bit, isn't he? He scored a fantastic goal, a great cross from Mitchell, and he stuck it in. I think there was some all-round performances. No standout, but lots of good performances. And I think that is what you need if you're going to win games and you want to stay up there at the top of the league. It isn't going to be individual star men; it's going to be team performances. And I think last night we had to dig in a little and. We got that. So no, I wouldn't say that any. I think if I was going to select one, it'd probably be the one that the sponsor selected, Carl Wootton. Carl was tremendous last night. He was holding the ball up fantastically. You know, all the balls played up to him. He never lost one, and he laid the ball off superbly. But as I say, there was a number of very good performances last night.
Very good. Stephen Knighton, I think he's a relatively new poster for us. Giving away far too many chances at home. Slocum saved us a few times. Echoes your point you've just made, Les. Grace, so Maidenhead, won, lost, nothing too much in between at the minute. How's Alan? How are you approaching? How do you assess your season so far?
Mixed emotions. I think when we look back at the losses that we have suffered, Weymouth was definitely one that we took quite badly. We just can't seem to beat Weymouth. So I think, yeah, looking
Neither
at
can we.
They just seem to be a bogey team for us. But I think we can be happy. I think there's definitely work that needs to be done. We've had to make quite a few changes. We lost our top goal scorer from last year and quite a few of the lads from last year. So Dev sort of had to, this summer, find the suitable replacements and then have to gel those together. So I think we're slowly getting there. We're slowly building on the results that we've had so far. So fingers crossed we can turn things around soon.
Now, forgive me, because this isn't meant to be patronising. We've had people like the Kings Lynn chairman on, and he's kind of explained the business model and the practical footballing model for Kings Lynn, which he described as a hybrid, where some of the players are effectively full-time, others are part-time, left to their own training regimes. How does it stack up down there at Maidenhead? Have you ended up going full-time with the players, or is it still a bit of a hybrid down there?
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it for us as well. We've got a mix of part-time players, and I guess you could say everyone's on part-time contracts, but some of the lads will have other jobs, with others sort of not having any other commitments bar football. So we've got quite a few characters in the team. We've got Ryan Upwood, our midfielder. He's a window cleaner. Remy Clarima, our defender, he's a male model, and you might have seen him in M&S. And shopping as well. He crops up quite.
That means if he's playing Saturday, you know what I'm going to say here, don't you? Yeah, sorry about that. There's 2 male models on the pitch on Saturday because Richard Brindley, he is a full-time pro with Knox, but he does do a bit of modelling as well for some of the football catalogues.
A competition in lots of terms then on Saturday. But yes, we've got quite a few characters, and our captain is also a tree surgeon. That's quite an interesting one. So yeah, some of them sort of juggle training sessions and have to come in and do extra hours with different coaches, but we managed to muddle through.
I wasn't sure, because there aren't too many clubs that aren't properly full-time in the National League, which makes the achievements of your club all the more impressive. But I believe you came through the UFCB course, I believe. So you are full-time in your media and marketing role, correct?
Yep, I am full-time, yep.
So that's very good. Now, you won't know this, but have a guess. Who was, in 1991, English professional football's first proper public relations communications officer?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I don't know.
You didn't do your own work on me, did you? It was me.
I knew I'd get caught out. I'm so sorry.
The only reason I ask, I wouldn't expect you to know it off the top of your head. No, so I mean, congratulations on getting in and enjoying what I'm sure is a great role at Maidenhead. But believe it or not, in 1991, Leicester City advertised for a press officer. I got the job, and I was the first full-time press officer in the whole of English football. And I make the point only for relevance for you. Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, none of them had a press office, believe it or not. That Manchester United's first person in a communications department was in 1997. So you can see how things has moved on, yeah. So you presumably wear many hats at Maidenhead, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's not just media and marketing. I do a little bit of ticketing, a little bit of hospitality, player sponsorship, sometimes help with the kit. I can't take credit for the kit, but I have washed a few dirty socks in my time, which has been quite interesting. Just, yeah, helping out wherever. But I think that's the beauty of the job that I've got, because I just love getting involved in everything.
Very
Paul,
good. Very
Paul,
good.
can I just come in with a question to Grace, please?
Please.
You mentioned that your captain was a tree surgeon. What position does he play?
He's a centre back.
So he could be chopping down Carl Wootton then.
No. Yeah, Leslie. You should have been a journalist, Leslie. If you'd have been a journalist, you'd have scored 129 goals less for Notts County. You made the right decision. You made the right career choice. Right, hang on, we're getting a few more observations in now. Duncan Comrie, averaging 2 points a game, unbeaten, and although not firing on all cylinders, it bodes well for the season onwards and upwards. Andy Newham couldn't be at the game last night. Ditto me, obviously, because of COVID. Okay, a steady, swift, speedy recovery and hope there are no long-term effects. Had to listen on BBC Radio Nottingham, but it sounded like Wealdstone played well above themselves. Teams will do that when they come to Meadow Lane. Chris Gosling must say 5,000 home fans on a Tuesday night was fantastic. Kelvin Hallam, Wealdstone gave a very good account of themselves and played some great stuff. Also like to say the travelling fans had a decent showing too for a Tuesday night. So Maidenhead, it's not quite as far as Weymouth, which was 5 hours each way for us on, Friday night and Saturday, Grace. So will your team come up on the day there and back, or will the chairman find a few extra pennies and you'll stop overnight Friday night?
So it's a little bit of a strange one. Before last year, we always used to drop in an overnight stay where possible. So I think Dev is in charge of that decision. Notts County's always been a place that we've travelled to on the day. But last year with COVID, obviously we had no overnight stays. I think Dev's a little bit superstitious now about travelling up on the day. So it seemed to work well for us. We won away at Hartlepool. We won away at Chesterfield as well. So I think it's a decision that Dev's taken into this year, and we're trying not to do overnight stays.
Okay. Superstitions in football, Les? There's hundreds of them, isn't there? Hundreds.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's even wearing the same underpants that you put on last week and won. Yeah, it goes on forever. Superstitions. Yeah.
You know me, Les. You know I'm very much a pragmatist. 3 points, and as far as I'm concerned, nothing else matters. But particularly given our current position in the National League, where ultimately only promotion will be judged as a success. Everything else ultimately will be judged as failure. It's just where we are in life. We're kind of judging Notts every game, aren't we? On a basis of being champions. That's not good enough. Oh, we should have beat them. We should have 2 or 3 more points here and there. What's that like for the players?
I think the players, what I see of them, are reveling in what is going on down at Notts County. I go down to the club on a Thursday, see the lads. They always look in good spirits. I think what is a big plus this year is that we have, I think it's 22 full-time players, all getting on well with each other, all getting on well in the dressing room. As opposed to having 6 or 7 loan players in there from the start of the season. So I think that's a massive plus. And they've all bought into the head coach's philosophy. Players can come in and play, not necessarily being dropped, resting them, making sure that they can all fulfill possibly 100% performances throughout the season. So, I think it's a good place. Obviously, half of the team are new and they're still learning how each other plays. But they seem to be on the front foot. As I say, we are making a few mistakes. We are conceding some silly goals, but you would hope that as matches move on, that will get better. But I think the supporters are warming to the excitement that is going on there. And if you were neutral watching last night's game, you would be highly impressed with the entertainment that you paid for.
There's a question for you, Grace, from one of our fans and supporters. For Grace, I'm not sure whether you've got the chat section up. To Grace, how many Maidenhead fans travel away? Give or take. We don't expect you to name, or however many there are. But would there be a decent following to Notts County on Saturday, I presume?
Being such a small club, obviously, I don't want to have a dig at the supporters at all. We've got one of the smaller away followings in the league, but the difference is Maidenhead fans are absolutely amazing, and they will make it seem like there's twice as many of them in the stands. So I did notice quite a few people last night saying that they were going to travel up to Nottingham. So the supporters that are going on Saturday, you'll be able to hear them. They really do get behind the boys.
Very good, because so my last visit to Maidenhead would have been the last time fans could come, and it was over the Christmas period. I'm not sure whether you were involved with Maidenhead then. It was kind of like a Boxing Day or a New Year or something like that, if I remember right. And that was my first visit to Maidenhead, and because there's a claim to fame, isn't there, in terms of how long Maidenhead have played football at that same stadium, correct?
Yep. If I can get it right, it's the oldest continuously used football ground in the world by one team. So we've played here since 1870.
Really? Les, did you make your debut for Notts in 1870?
I think just a little bit after that, Paul.
Well, you've certainly got the drop 40 years on Meadow Lane, because although we're the world's oldest professional club, Grace, Meadow Lane wasn't actually opened until 1910. We used to play all over the place, and including playing on the cricket ground, the Trembridge cricket ground. That's where we played for a lot of our early years. So that's quite an impressive stat, that one, to be fair. It
is. It's one that I hold on to from the media side of things as well.
Very good, very good. Ian Birchinall, evening all again. This is Ian Ian Birchinall is our manager, Grace. We also have a fan called Ian Birchinall, who's one of our regular contributors. So this is the fan, not the manager, in case you're thinking. Evening all, again, not a performance you'd say was outstanding, although good playing spells. But 3 points and we move on. Winning when not playing well is a good sign. Les, where are you in the debate that as long as we win, that's fine? Would you be concerned? Do you think we need to concede less goals, or as long as we end up scoring more than the opposition, does it really matter?
That's a question that probably need to ask at the end of the season. If we continue winning games 3-2, then you're going to be delighted with it. You're going to be highly entertained, close matches. No, I certainly would like to see less goals conceded. The types of goal that we're conceding is a concern, and I'm sure that the head coach will recognise that as well. And on the training ground, they'll be working to try and stamp those out. We've shown how well we can defend when we went to Wrexham. I think that was a 90-minute performance of excellence in how to defend. And I'm not sure why we are conceding so, quite a few, shall we say, poor goals to concede. But it is something that we obviously need to look at. And if we are going to attack with numbers getting forward, then there's got to be a plan in place for the counter attack. We certainly struggled with it last night, and there was a few chances. We were a bit fortunate last night to win that game. As I say, I think the opposition would have gone away a bit disappointed with the result. But on the other hand, there's many matches where we've not had the run of the ball, shall we say, and we haven't come away what we should have come away with.
Ian Birchinall says, if Maidenhead fans make as much noise as Wealdstone last night, you'll do okay, Grace. Thought they were great last night, especially for 200 of them. Kelvin Hallam, as long as we keep the ball well and use it better than last night, as well as the effort they put in, then it don't matter. The result to me, just glad to be back at football grounds again. There's normally quite a few goals involved when Maidenhead are playing as well, isn't there, Grace, at either end?
There is, to be honest. There's always, I was saying last night to the people in the press box, there's always a story to a Maidenhead game. There's always like an eventful moment, which sometimes is a good thing and sometimes is a bad thing.
Yeah, because, I mean, you mentioned you lost one of your main strikers from last season. Sam Barrett is coming back from injury. Certainly scoring goals hasn't always been the problem for you, has it?
No, definitely not. When Sam is fit, which hopefully he will be, he can be a real threat. And he was last year when we went to Notts as well. I think losing Danilo last year to Harrogate is something that Maidenhead have had to deal with. We're sort of like a stepping stone for players. So Sam did really well for us when we won the league, and he joined Southend and got his move to the Football League and then came back. So it's been quite a fairy tale for him to be doing so well for us now. So yeah, I think it's just about replacing the goals that we've been able to get in previous years, and hopefully Sam can do that this year as well.
Who's the best team you've played so far in your fixtures, Grace? Or who looked the most impressive?
I would have to say it's definitely between Stockport and Torquay, but I think Stockport last night were just better than us across the park. They just seemed to be clever footballers, and I think with us being part-time and sort of like the smaller club, we sometimes don't have that edge. So I think you could definitely tell that they were just faster. They just had faster reactions. They were just on top. Yeah, which was hard to take last night.
Yeah, did Torquay win at your place? Was that the one with lots of goals in?
That was 4-3, yep, last Saturday.
Were Torquay something like 3 or 4 up?
They were 4-0 up at half-time. Yeah, it wasn't the best day. It's not been a good week.
Yeah, it's interesting with Torquay, Les, isn't it? Because I think it can always be, you know, both Torquay and Stockport experienced heartache in the playoffs last year, especially Torquay. And it is difficult to overcome. And clearly they're finding it, obviously we're going 4-0 up at half time against Maidenhead. They've been finding it difficult. Southend have found it difficult too. It's still very, very early days yet, but it's no real surprise, is it? Of the 8 or 9 inverted commas big hitters, 3, 4, 5 of them aren't really firing at the minute.
Well, we've experienced 2 years in the National League, haven't we? And we've seen Harrogate go up. We've seen Barrow go up. We've seen Hartlepool go up, and we've seen Sutton go up. Would any of those 4 teams have been mentioned as one of the favourites to go up at the start of the season? I don't think so. They've done it through hard work, well-organised teams, not giving much away and probably delivering balls into the box early. Not playing probably a lot of football. So... yeah, all the talk pre-season about who's going to do it, who's not going to do it. Torquay were a very good side last year, but they've lost a lot of players, haven't they? 2 of their players have come along to Notts. I don't know where others are, but whenever you lose a group, new ones have to come in, new ones have to settle down, and it does take time. So, yeah, it's going to be difficult. But I think the league will start to settle down 10 or 12 games in, and I think you'll start to see a pattern then. That's my view.
Grace, what is, so you've kind of alluded at it earlier. So is mission to be completed this season 50 points or whatever is needed to maintain your National League status, yeah?
In the first instance, yes, but I think with last year going the way that it did for us and being sort of in and around the playoffs, midway through the season, I think the ambitions have got a lot higher this year. I think Dev would be aiming for playoffs. I just think that with the progress that we're making off the pitch at the moment, with our new stadium and expanding into the community, we're just sort of unsure what the priority is. So I think the mission is to finish as high as we can, no matter what. But I think if Maidenhead were to reach the playoffs, I think we'd all have to take a step back and plan for that, which is something that we did have to do halfway through last year. So I'm not too sure. I think first things first is staying in the National League.
We hear a lot about the challenges that all football clubs faced last year without crowds. What's kind of? Oh, here we go. That's better. That's better. Have you switched the floodlights on specially? Talk to us about the business model. Ownership. How does it work at Maidenhead? Because one of the subjects we've been discussing a lot recently, and we had Ollie Bayliss, who's kind of like the journalistic guru for non-league, doing a special show for us. There is a salary cap working party that has been created, and there's talk of that salary for playing budget for National League national teams just shy of £1 million. How does it all stack up? Is it a real financial battle for you at Maidenhead? Have you got some hitherto unknown Russian oligarch that we don't know about, or?
It's not quite that exciting. We're quite, obviously I've mentioned before about the community, and we're a very local football club. So our owner and chairman is a local businessman. So he's got, I think he works in pharmaceuticals, and so that's where he is sort of like passionate about. But the football club is very much at the heart of what he is as a person. So he knows everyone in Maidenhead, everyone knows him. He's very much, he'll walk down the street and say hi to you in the street. He knows all the supporters by name. He's very humble, and that goes the whole way through the football club. When I was joining Maidenhead, I just knew that it was a club that I'd get on with, because we are very much a family. So I think he's got such a good relationship with Dev as well. So they will have very honest chats about budgets and things like that. And we're no stranger to knowing that in the league, we're very small compared to bigger clubs. But Dev accepts that, as much as he might not want to sometimes. And he does see, the players go for big money higher up the table, but the owner is very much passionate about the future. And we know that with the new stadium and potentially going full time at some point, that things will get better eventually. It's just about here and now, just doing what we can.
So just very quickly, just educate Notts fans, because I didn't know this, about the new stadium, or the proposed new stadium.
Okay, so it was proposed last year, and the news was that we were obviously leaving York Road behind, which, with the history behind the club, was something that we knew would be quite sour to supporters as well, and something that maybe not everyone in Maidenhead would agree with. But it's the best thing for the club. The owner, he understands that not everyone's going to be happy with it. But being the community club that we are, and Maidenhead in general growing as a town, being in a really good place as well, with like Reading and London, and trying to keep up with the future, we've sort of turned it into a positive, and we hopefully are going to get some more partners from it and be more involved in the community. And we're working with a really exciting partner called Connexin, and they're trying to make the whole new stadium a smart stadium. So we're hoping to be one of the first smart stadiums, especially at the National League level. So yeah, the future does look bright for us. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes around that.
Very good. Leslie, so last night you had one or two, illustrious, I think, former players at the ground, didn't you? I was talking very briefly to Tommy Johnson today. You had a few of the old boys down, yeah?
There's only Tommy that I was aware of last night. A couple of weeks ago against Torquay, we had the reunion of the team that won the league 50 years ago. But Tommy was in full good form. He was he couldn't stop talking about his happy times at Notts, and especially under Neil Warnock, and going to Wembley on the 2 visits and scoring goals. He was he enlightened the supporters, some of the younger ones that probably can't remember those days. But yeah, he looked really well. He's now working with Ian Barraclough and enjoying life again. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy, Tommy, and I think he's one of our great alumni. That there's never any airs and graces to him, despite what he went on to achieve. And I think, as you just said there, that group of players, we had Donna Reardon on our show earlier in the week. There was a fantastic camaraderie, which is kind of one of the hallmarks of all Neil Warnock sides, isn't it?
Not just Neil Warnock. I mean, there's been a lot of players that in the days that I played, you had to commit yourself by moving to the community. You couldn't travel this day and age. A lot of players choose to jump in the car and it's 2 hours travel. But the likes of Tommy, Ian McCulloch, Ian McParland, just to name one or two, who have come into Nottingham and played for Notts County, and they've settled here. They became part of the community, and in doing so, they've gained many friends that's put them in good stead for the future lives. And that all came out with Tommy's conversations last evening. He was he was half an hour late coming to take his seat at the table, and he got stuck downstairs talking to the staff that he remembered that were here when he was playing, and to Daphne Mountain, reliving all those happy times. That's how he is, and that's how a lot of the players have been here. Mark Stallard's another one, isn't he? And he's doing radio commentary now. It's just a lovely place to live, and you build big friendships with people when you play for your local football club and you become part of the community.
Did you see, Les, you may have missed it, where Ian McCulloch, the cat, has now become manager of Notts County?
No.
I'm leading up. I should say, manager of Notts County, open brackets, walking team over 60s.
Fantastic.
Yeah, wonderful. He's gone into the walking team, and they beat Forest 5-4. I don't know how many cats took out, but
I shall have to get in touch with him. I'm unaware of that, Paul.
Yes, he's got involved with the walking team. Yeah, he's got involved. Yeah. I would play for it myself, the over 60s, but obviously I'm still 23 years away from being able to qualify through age eligibility.
Lovely.
Oh dear. We'll come back to you in a minute, lads. Grace, well, it's good to see you've definitely sorted out the lighting problem. Well, it wasn't a problem at all. Maidenhead. Let's come back, because obviously you play in black and white stripes. And in my experience, and in Les's experience, kits and kit design can be an absolute nightmare. I remember in the Jurassic era, not scrapped the black and white stripes once and played in what we called a black pinstripe. We got relegated and everyone hated the kit. Now, you did volunteer a little bit earlier. Were you involved in the kit design one year or something?
What, me?
Yeah, I thought you said you had an input into the kit or something. And maybe I misheard you.
I think, no, to be honest, this year I have had an input. It's a decision that the chief executive, he'll sort of shortlist designs. And with it being stripes, there was quite a few different types of stripes this year. And we all sort of voted for which one we preferred. But my choice was picked for the kit. So I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah, because this is mainly a white shirt, isn't it?
Yeah. So last year as well, we went fully white for our 150th year. Which was a real popular shirt with the fans. And it was quite nice to get away from the stripes for a year. But we can't get away from them permanently because, we are the stripes. So we went for a predominantly white shirt with, I think it's like sort of paintbrush stroked stripes. They're quite fancy, but personally, I think it looks quite good.
Well, obviously, you won't be wearing that Saturday.
No.
What will you be wearing Saturday? What outlandish, garish colours have you gone for your away kit, which some clubs do?
You've basically described it there. It's very out there. I'm pretty sure we will be wearing our away kit, which is yellow with sort of like green triangular shapes on it. You just need to see a picture of it. But yeah, it'll certainly stand out on the day.
Leslie, Favourite, and I'll throw this out to all of the on the chat. Sling out there quickly, fingers on buzzers, the old Bamber Gascoigne University Challenge. Your favourite, and as you know, normally when I'm not in Seville, I have about 100 of them lined up behind me. Your favourite Notts County kit. Get onto it now. Les, what's your favourite Notts County kit?
There was only one for me, and that was the one that we won promotion with. Promotion in the 70s. That same measurements of black stripe, black, white, all the way around, and then on the back the white patch and the red number. I think as time moved on, then there was some argument about the colour of the number, that it clashed with the Forest shirts. So some fans didn't want red numbers, but I thought it was a fantastic kit. Black shorts and white socks. Loved it.
But you had a few away kits, didn't you?
We did, but I can't remember changing that often. Obviously, in the days that I played, there was no sponsors, so you only changed kits when there was a clash of kit. But the one that sticks out to me was the yellow shirt with the green shorts. I love playing in that away kit. We've gone down the route of being playing in blue of late, haven't we? Different shades of blue, and it's marketing for to sell shirts nowadays, isn't it? As opposed to I don't know whether the players get asked about the shirts this day and age or not, but no, I just love those black and white stripes. They were very powerful, and I know the players love playing in them.
A few of you coming in. Ian Birchnell agrees with you, Les. I'm the same as Les for favourite shirt. Kelvin Hallam's described our away offering this year as mint green. I think that's slightly incorrect. I think it's something like asphalt. What is it? It's something green and asphalt. Yeah, that's our away kit. You will see it later this year, Grace. Yeah, it's gone down.
It sounds nice.
Yeah, and neither bright pink or, in fact, as Sam would probably, our keeper would probably, bright pink, all pink goalkeeping kit. So you will see the keeper from away off. That is for sure. You coming up on Saturday?
Yeah.
Grace? Yeah,
I'll be there. Yeah,
very
definitely.
good. Very good. Well, I hope you get looked after properly by everyone. I'm sure you will by Nick and our media team. I'm guessing our press box is a little bit larger than yours.
It is, yeah. I always joke with Nick that he does give me a seat number and everything. Whereas when he comes here, I basically just say, whichever one's free, he's very organised. He does a great job, Nick.
But you do actually have the local paper. Is it the Maidenhead Advertiser? That's kind of like on the corner of the ground, isn't it?
Yep, it's literally it's in the bottom corner, and we actually use the car park for the away team. So that's where they park, because we've sort of got a sponsorship deal with them. It works out quite well.
Very good. Very good. Les, 1-3, drawn 3. There's 2 or 3 teams. Some would say they're surprises, others wouldn't. Dagenham have clearly done extremely well. Boreham would have done extremely well despite losing their star striker. Chesterfield, not always hugely popular, certainly with Notts fans, but have done very well. If you're marking Notts' start out of 10 for the season so far, what would you give it? What would you say?
I'd give it a 7 or 8 out of 10. As I said, if you're playing 6 games, 3 away, 3 at home, how many points you're going to get? You're going to be happy with 3 wins and 3 draws, aren't you? However you get them. In my playing days, we never felt the league settle down till 10 or 12 matches had been played, and then you got to know. But at the same time, there was no publicity about the team in those days. Pre-season friendlies were played behind locked doors, so that information about players and tactics were kept in house. Nowadays, I mean, the stuff that comes out now. I mean, we're doing videos on the training ground about all the techniques. We're interviewing the head coach who gives thorough reports. It's just incredible the information now that the supporter can get for his football team. It's just incredible. Yeah, different age that I certainly played in, but no, I still believe. Even though if I go back to that, was it last year when Torquay were running away after 10 games and then they fell off? And I think the year before, Barrow, who finished up winning the league, they struggled in the first 10, didn't they? So, you know, it's very difficult to say, isn't it? Tough one. I wouldn't like, if you'd have asked me at the start of the season which teams will be up at the top after 10 games, I think probably I would be talking about those teams that are up there now. You know, I did think that Torquay would struggle a little with losing all those players. I thought Chesterfield would do well. Wasn't sure about Grimsby because they'd obviously come down. They would probably go through what we went through when we got relegated. Stockport had established themselves last year, so they would be up there. So Dagenham had a great end to the season last year, didn't they? So you thought, yeah, they'll be up there. So it's very much, I think, as I would have thought the league would be after a few games.
Grace, Les there talking about his day, my day. You very much now, I am presuming, are behind putting out all these new innovative social media video feeds, interviews, cams on front of training shirts, you know, cams in goal mouths, you name it, yeah?
Yep, I mean, it's what I do, and I'm lucky to have a full-time job, especially at a club like Maidenhead, and it certainly keeps me busy.
Yeah. Players all good, you know, understand the community involvement. I appreciate some of them are cleaning windows, some of them are chopping down parts of whatever forest it is on the edge of Maidenhead. But you have good cooperation and able to get quite a lot of community and social media content sorted for them all.
Definitely. The one good thing, and I'll go back to the point about us being a community, is that at York Road as well, the players are so close to the supporters, and you get the regular supporters that will go and the players will always greet them, and that just bodes well for our media coverage as well. So it's a brilliant club and everyone's really close.
Martin Allen, former Notts County manager, good friend of mine, doesn't live too far from where you guys are down there in Maidenhead. He said that, you know, the recruitment that Alan does, he said, is spot on. Knows how to bring in players. Sadly, not always easy to hold on to them when you unearth these jewels. But he said that recruitment, excellent. It's a good catchment area with other football clubs around there, isn't it, to pick players up from?
Definitely, and we're getting to the point where we've got a very good relationship with the clubs around us as well. So we've got quite a few players that we've had from Oxford United, from Wickham. We played them in a behind closed doors friendly last week when we didn't have a game. Brentford B, because our assistant manager, he actually works for Brentford Community Trust. So that's brilliant as well. So we've got really good links with the surrounding clubs, which Dev is really happy to have.
Very good. Les, what do you reckon Saturday? We don't want to second guess the manager. As I understand it, sadly I couldn't be there on Saturday, but in answer to Ian Birchnell's question, yes, I will be back at the Lane. I will be in situ. Real Betis, UEFA Europa League against Glasgow Celtic tomorrow. Theoretically, Celtic supporters have been told they can't travel to this game in UEFA Europa League. I do PR and other things for Real Betis in the UK. Well, there was about 172 Celtic fans on my train today. There's thousands in the city centre. Glasgow Celtic fans travel en masse. But I will be back on Friday. What do you do, Les? Are we a 3-5-2, 4-4-2? Kairo Mitchell up front? Do you think Ian is going to shuffle the pack again, or what? Do you think he's going to mix and match tactics dependent on opposition?
I'm sure that's in his thinking nowadays. You know, as I say, I'm not sure what's happening on the training ground, but they seem to be able to cope with this 3 at the back or 4 at the back, and the changes that are being made. I'm sure they work hard on that, and the only challenge is that on the training ground they haven't got the opposition there coming at you. So whilst you might be working on how you're going to perform, it's difficult to get the reaction from the opposition, how they're going to deal with it. But yeah, they'll be working hard. As I say, I'm not privy to what information they've got about Maidenhead and what tactics he's going to use on Saturday, but he will be working on the best chance of Notts County winning that football match and the way that they're going to play. But what I do like about Ian is that he doesn't wait until the last 10 minutes before he feels the need to make changes. He is very, very quick to see when things don't work, and he'll make changes in the first half if necessary.
Les knows everything that's going on at Notts County, Grace. He's just not telling you, okay, so you can report it back to Al. He knows everything. We just play. We're being nice, aren't we? Because obviously, you know, we can't give too much away. Les, goalkeeper. You know, for me, Sam Slocum, just about the best keeper in the division last year. I think he's a very good keeper. Typically, the way we live and work with social media and, you know, the experts and the trolls and all the rest of it, you know, analysing some grainy little video, you know, shot by a fan from 150 yards away that somehow says, oh, the goalkeeper's at fault, look at this video. So Sam came in for a little bit. I was interested to hear you say that you thought Sam was man of the match last night.
He was certainly one of the players that enabled Notts County to come away with 3 points. Without him, I'm not so sure that would have been the case. But he also, did you listen to his interview after the game as well?
He speaks very, very, very well. Very impressive, I have to say.
I found it very interesting on you know, there's a chap who's probably touched on a little bit how things were when I was playing. He got the tail out and how it is this day and age, particularly with younger players. And I found it very enlightening how shall we say, squads of players develop together now, younger ones and the more senior ones. But yeah, very interesting. Sam's got a lot of experience. He is a proven goalkeeper, and he's a role model for the younger players as well. I'm pretty sure he'll hold his hands up and say he has made a couple of mistakes this year, but that can happen. It's you know, deal with it and get on with it. It's that's football.
Calvin Alamas, can we get Sam on here, Paul? We've done a few of the players, as you know, Richard Brindley, Kel Roberts, and the club captain, Carl Cameron. We're hoping to get at least one more player, but we'll probably be doing that towards the end of the season. We're going to give the current players a bit of a break, let them focus on the matches in a minute. The club were very good in accommodating requests for players. Grace, it's getting darker in Maidenhead. Is the sun going down on Maidenhead on your road?
The lights are on.
Are you the only person in the ground at the minute?
I'm not. We've actually got some community sessions going on to the right of me. So, yeah, it is a little bit scary over here, though.
It looks very sort of Halloweenish or, you know, insidious, I don't know, or whatever. You know, I expect someone in one of their masks to come out from the seat. Oh, dear. For Maidenhead, you mentioned the bigger clubs come down, Stockport. I suspect you're going to have a lot of people coming from the likes of Southend because it'll be the first time they'll ever come here. is not a really, you've been there a couple of times now, but not still a really big fixture for Alan, for the players, for the fans?
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. We mentioned it last night, post-match as well, looking forward to the game. Yeah, definitely a big fixture for the players. And it's nice for me to get back up north as well. So it's one that I always look forward to.
Very good. Very good. We're going to wrap up because you will be in total darkness shortly, Grace. Leslie, 2 home games, 5 days. I always like matches under lights, don't you? Midweek matches. Was it a special atmosphere last night?
It was good because it's been raining through the day, and that G'd me up a bit as well because it always tends to make for a fast game. The ball's going to
slicker.
Yeah. And that was the case as well. The pitch looked great. Playing surface is in great condition. I don't know if Maidenhead like to knock the ball about, but they're going to enjoy going on to the Meadow Lane pitch on Saturday. So yeah, it was good atmosphere, and obviously to get a crowd of over 5,000 on a Tuesday evening was brilliant as well. So yeah, good evening all round.
Grace, thank you ever so much. Enjoy your trip up to Nottingham. Not too much, but enjoy it. Thank you ever so much for joining us and for educating our fan base a little about what's going on at Maidenhead. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we wish you all the very, very best for the season.
I have enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you.
And feel free to amplify this across all the Maidenhead social media channels as well. You will be a little media star in Maidenhead as well. Leslie, thank you as always for giving us your time. I will be back in the Pavis on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Small matter of Betis versus Glasgow Celtic. Tomorrow, i.e. Thursday evening, and then Ryanair permitting, we'll be back landing at East Midlands Airport on Friday. Thank you very much, everyone. All the very best. And for those of you who are tipster-minded, it might be worth seeing me get a special bet on more than 6 goals or something outlandish on Saturday, because both teams seem to score lots of goals, both concede a few as well, or perhaps just stick a fiver on a 0-0. We shall see. I have a feeling there might be quite a lot of goals Saturday. I think it could be another very entertaining game. Hope we come out top side. Thank you again, Grace. Thank you again, Les. All the very best for the evening, and look